Jackie, the other side of motor racing from Peter Gethin, and he can still smile.
Well, Peter Gethin, thank you, Barry. Peter Gethin won the Italian Grand Prix driving for BRM a good few years ago. I was in the same race and he beat me, so that'll deserve him right today.
You saw car number 12. That is Ayrton Senna, the young driver from Brazil, certainly one of the favorites here. Senna in the number 12 Lotus is roughly 6 or 7 laps back. He was running near De Angelis, started in the number 2 position behind his teammate, but came into the pits, was in for actually a long period of time, and is simply driving it out here in Montreal.
A couple of things happening here, incidentally. That's Nigel Mansell you're looking at right now, but a couple of things. Stefan Johansson is picking up space on Elio de Angelis. He's only 2.8 seconds behind now as we have it here, so that's very close. So Stefan Johansson is certainly coming into this race. That's the car, of course, of Alboreto, who's leading, but Johansson is really within a second now of the car of De Angelis. Whether De Angelis is going slower or whether Johansson's going faster, we'll have to get you to find that out in a few moments. Alboreto certainly seems to have some breathing space. That's him coming through those waves, and there's yet no sign of De Angelis. So there's your man in the lead. 48 laps completed. He's well away there, he's pulling away there, and no sign at all of Elio de Angelis. Now, it could be that you're going to see a Ferrari 1-2 before too long here. That would be something. Out first gear, second gear, third gear, and for the moment we've gone back to Alain Prost. At the far end of the racetrack, of course, that battle we were looking at coming out of close to Montreal, but there is Alain Prost in the meantime. Prost is catching up there. He's catching up on Tamby. He's right up. That's a race for 4th position, Patrick Tamby. We've got 2 great races going on here for 3rd place, 2nd and 3rd, and for 4th and 5th, because that is Tamby leading with Prost close behind. I think Prost is going to pass Tamby. There he goes, he's done it. Something strange happened to Tamby there. Tamby backed right off. Tamby's in trouble. Tamby's in trouble. Prost just passed him too easily, Brian.
Right now, it is a 3-man race. Alboreto, De Angelis,
oh, look at this, look at this. This is them trying to get through, and he's going right side by side. He can't make that.
And Johansson, and there's Johansson as he tried to move into second.
Yep, that was that move, but he just couldn't go past there. He went round there side by side. What a move. We may well see a replay of that in a few minutes, because that was classic racing, but Johansson had no chance at all. He was in the outside of the line. He was out in the marbles, but he, I think, will pass Elio de Angelis. I think you're going to see Johansson taking 2nd place very soon. Look at that. De Angelis is using more road than he needed. He went right off the road there. He had his foot on the grass there. A lot of pressure for De Angelis. His car has definitely got less adhesion. He's using more road, a little more skittish. Johansson's car is much more positive on the ground right now. I would look at the left rear tire of De Angelis. I'm not absolutely sure whether that isn't starting to go flat. You see a profile of a rear tire, and it just seemed to me that it was slightly down in the middle. I may be wrong. Maybe I'm seeing things, but the coverage here by CBC has been so good that we can take great camera positions here. But what a race this is. There's Alboreto in the lead. He's out on his own. That's him there.
Here's the pass you talked about.
And here's the replay. Look at De Angelis on the left-hand side. He's got the line right. He's got the line. There's no way that Johansson can get past on the outside. And in fact, if Elio de Angelis wanted to be really nasty, and that's the same again. That's live this time. That's live. He's done it again, for God's sake. Here he's going to pass. He's trying to do it. He's done it. He's done it. Ferrari, 1st and 2nd.
And for you trivia buffs, Ferrari has been 1-2 in the Canadian Grand Prix only once. That was in 1970 at Mont-Tremblant, Quebec, when Jackie Ickx was first in a Ferrari and Clay Regazzoni was second. Right now, it's Ferrari, Ferrari, Ferrari and Lotus. The Ferraris have been first and third here in 1978, Gilles Villeneuve and Carlos Reutemann. And in 1983, René Arnoux and Patrick Tambay. Right now, Ferrari trying to finish 1-2 for only the second time in the history of the Canadian Grand Prix. But remember, this course is so very, very tough on fuel and brakes. Alain Prost is lurking back in the number 4 position. They've got that fuel computer on board the McLaren. The race is far from over. We're on lap 51. This is a 70-lap race. It is Alboreto now by 8 seconds over Johansson. De Angelis is running third. Alain Prost is fourth, followed by Patrick Tambay, Nigel Mansell, and Keke Rosberg. But the story is the 2 Ferraris and the Lotus as Michele Alboreto comes by in front of this large, enthusiastic Montreal crowd.
Viva Ferrari, they're shouting. A lot of Italians in Montreal. The place seems to be made up of Italians right now. I see Ferrari flags all over the place. So the Italian driver in the Italian car, he won the Belgian Grand Prix last year. That was the first time in 18 years that an Italian driver had won in an Italian car. So that was a pretty good record for him to have. Ferrari over here in strength have brought 27 people over here. One of their mechanics is one of the longest-serving mechanics in the Formula One trail. The mechanic Bellintani has been 22 years in the business. Man of enormous experience.
You mentioned a lot of Italian fans in Montreal, a tremendous Italian population in Toronto, probably upwards of 500,000. When Italy won the World Cup soccer tournament, one of the great celebrations anywhere in the world was in Toronto. I have seen so many Italian fans from Toronto here this weekend, and you know they're having a ball right now. Not only are Ferraris first and second, an Italian driver, De Angelis, in the number 11 Lotus, is running in the number 3 position. There's Johansson, the young Swede, driving second. He is car number 28. The leader is car number 27, his teammate Michele Alboreto.
Well, this is certainly an Italian takeover. It's strange how the world of motor racing goes by. For a long while, Great Britain had the monopoly. Then France came in with a great glut of drivers. Then Brazil came in with a great number of top-line drivers winning a lot of races. Now Italy have arrived. And certainly there's a predominance of Italian talent, both in cars and in drivers. So that's nice to see. It's good to see everybody getting a share. There's been a general shortage of German drivers to the front, but Bellof's coming along well, as also, of course, is Manfred Winkelhock, but never yet up front. And that there is Stefan Johansson with the leaves printed on the back of his helmet. The ESPN viewers here will remember that the leaves are because he had a nickname of the Little Leaf back in Sweden.
This race is far from over, but so far the day belongs to Ferrari. And our live exclusive coverage of the 1985 Le Mans Canadian Grand Prix will continue right after this. Alfa Romeo is pursued by the Williams. The Williams of number 5, Nigel Mansell, right now is standing in the number 7 position. Car number 22 is Riccardo Patrese. So actually, Mansell is trying to lap Patrese because Mansell stands 7th and Patrese is 11th.
Well, Riccardo Patrese, as I said earlier, is not the easiest man to get past on the road. It will be interesting to see how Mansell deals with that. And he's trying to do it right now. The Honda power getting past there very easily. A great amount of horsepower in this Honda engine. It develops more than any of the other Grand Prix engines when it's really on form. It's a very short power curve, however. Much shorter than the Ferrari we're now looking at, which is much more taut. And really, the Ferrari engine develops its torque much more comfortably from the driver's point of view. It's an easier car to drive, the Ferrari. Picks up its power around about 8,000 revs and goes all the way through 12 to 12,500 revs, developing the power, whereas the Honda has a 6-speed gearbox instead of the Ferrari having 5-speed. And look how the two Ferraris are within some distance of each other now. Johansson has really caught up Alboreto. Now, I wonder if that's planned. I don't think they'll allow Johansson to pass. I think they'll be getting pit signals, and on the pit lane there's a board that goes out, and the Ferrari team manager Marco Piccinini, will be giving a signal to Alboreto, and also one of the other mechanics will be giving a signal to Johansson, telling them plus on the competition how many laps to go, and if they've got to stay in position, there is no question that Johansson is going much faster than Alboreto. Now whether he's going to pass him is another matter. If Alboreto's in trouble, well then surely Johansson will pass, but if he tucks in behind, you will see team orders being observed.
Reminds me of when Villeneuve, refresh our viewers' memories, when Villeneuve was passed when he was leading.
Well, that happened in Imola, actually, at the last Grand Prix that he was able to take part in with Didi Pironi, who incidentally, Didi Pironi is here doing it on behalf of French television, just in the commentary position very close by. It's very nice to see him back again. Didi Pironi, who had suffered such a big accident at the German Grand Prix at Hockenheim in practice, he's back over here. So therefore it's quite interesting to see what would occur here. Here are the two Ferraris. Now this is a delicate situation. It depends on how well the cars are going. If they've got a big cushion on De Angelis, they will just hold their position right now. That'll be team orders.
Villeneuve, of course, was leading, and Pironi, against team orders, went on to pass him. You will probably not see that happen here this afternoon. Alboreto is currently second in the world standings, tied with Alain Prost with 18 points, 2 behind the leader Elio de Angelis. Now with a win, 9 points here today, Alboreto can move into first place. Johansson has only 1 point. There's De Angelis running third, the world leader. Johansson has only 1 point. That came at San Marino when he was sixth. He was actually leading that race, ran out of fuel with 2 laps to go.
Well, De Angelis driving round here very comfortably in third place, but well out of touch. He's more than 12 seconds behind the two Ferraris. There's a fellow there waves every time. His arm's going to fall off before the end of this race. He's obviously a Ferrari fan, and Alboreto is pleasing him right now, but I think Stefan Johansson's getting him a little bit more excited. Alboreto, he'll look in his mirror. Stefan Johansson, close behind him.
Jackie Stewart, a lot of racing fans were surprised when Ferrari hired young Johansson, who now pursues Alboreto, to replace the Frenchman René Arnoux. You were not surprised.
Well, I don't say I wasn't surprised. I was surprised that they dropped René Arnoux, as a matter of fact. He came out, by the way, not there to overtake Alboreto. He was just trying to get a little more air into his car, just to have a little more space. Yes, they chose Johansson. They wanted somebody who was already experienced, who wasn't brand new, who they thought they could rely on, who wasn't going to damage too many cars, because a lot of young drivers, full of exuberance and bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, can get overexcited and damage cars, which can be extremely expensive for a team. Man-hours, mechanics having to work all night to repair them. They didn't need that. So they bought in a driver who they thought was the right balance for their team. They knew they had Alboreto, who was a positive winner in their mind. So they thought, we'll have a good support man, and therefore they chose Johansson. I think they chose well. René Arnoux himself, very talented. Quite the circumstances of his being dropped by Ferrari is still speculative. There's a lot of concern about that. Ferrari is a tough man. I never drove for the Ferrari team because I always felt that the Commendatore was a man who pleased himself too often, to be frank with you. I respect his success in racing, but he's always put one driver against the other rather a lot. He would always say to you, if you were driving, you're my favorite, while he would say the same to me, and I never really appreciated that. It's really not good to have, in my mind, conflict within the team. Right now, of course, he very much wants Alboreto to win the World Championship because he's an Italian driver.
That's a very interesting point, because for a long, long time, Ferrari would have no Italian driving his cars.
Well, for a long time there weren't any good Italians in any case. Lorenzo Bandini was a good Italian driver who sadly lost his life in 1967 in Monte Carlo. But after that there was a long time. Mazzario drove a Ferrari, was never really hotly competitive. Clay Regazzoni came from the Italian-speaking part of Switzerland, was more Italian than Swiss in many ways, but No, he hasn't had many Italians recently, but that's because of the lack of Italian drivers.
What about stories, Jackie, that he didn't want to be under pressure in case an Italian driver was injured or even killed while driving for Ferrari? Because let's face it, the Italian fans, out is Patrese or Cheever.
It looked like Eddie Cheever was in trouble there. The only American in the race looked like he was in big trouble. He's still driving around there in his Alfa Romeo very slowly. Nigel, that's Patrick Tamby passing him there. He's really going very slowly. The white flag you can just see on the right-hand side behind the bridge there. That's to tell other drivers there's a very slow-moving vehicle. That's the car of Mansell going round there. The flame that you see coming out of the car is the turbo on overrun. When the turbo is shut off, some of the fuel drips into the red-hot turbo chamber and catches fire, and therefore that flame comes out the exhaust pipe. This weekend here in Montreal, 9 cars have gone on fire. 5 of them seriously on fire, and it's because of turbos spilling fuel, and when the turbo breaks or blows up, then that fuel is allowed to spill around, and sooner or later they're going to have a major fire because of it.
There's a lot of concern over it, Jackie. Yesterday in the final qualifying session, Mansell's turbo caught fire, and he seemed to go on forever. As we look at the other Alfa Romeo, yes, that's Patrese, so it's Cheever that's out of the race. Mansell seemed to go on forever, not realizing the car was on fire.
Well, there's Cheever coming into the pits now. You can't see the flame in your mirrors, you see. That's the biggest problem. You can't see that flame because at the speed that you're doing, the flame is low on the car, and it gets tucked in with the aerodynamics, and you can't really see it. So the driver really is ignorant of the fire until he comes into a very slow corner, which of course he's very busy doing his own thing, and unless it catches his eye in the mirror, he really doesn't know about it. Look, Alain Prost is right up behind Elio de Angelis. Alain Prost is seriously getting into Elio de Angelis. You're going to see a pass. It's taking place. No, it's not. De Angelis manages to do the job. Now this is Alain Prost now jumping in. This is for 3rd position here. 3rd position. De Angelis looks like he's going to lose it.
Less than 10 laps to go in this race. Remember, the course is so tough on fuel. Prost has been conserving. He is now going after De Angelis for 3rd. However, De Angelis is something like 14 seconds behind Johansson, who is running 2nd to his teammate Alboreto. De Angelis continues to hang tough as he is pursued by Alain Prost.
It's quite interesting that Elio de Angelis is not on the carbon fiber brakes. He's on normal brakes, metal brakes, steel brakes. And the car of Prost is on the carbon fiber brakes. The carbon fiber brakes are new composite carbon fiber that's used, high technology. It's a French company that make them. It's a company from, oh, this is very close now. It's CEP. It's a company that make them for 7 of the leading teams. McLaren, Ferrari, Lotus have them. But on this occasion, Lotus decided to split their bet, and they put De Angelis on the normal traditional steel brakes, while they put Senna on the carbon fiber brakes. So it's interesting here how the braking will work out for these 2 drivers, because passing will be done on braking, basically.
We've just seen a sign put out to Mr. Johansson saying slow. The Ferrari team aren't trying to dampen him down in his 13th Grand Prix. I remember how Alboreto ran out of petrol at San Marino. It's flying back to the race. I think the last time we saw Ferrari 1-2 was Arnoux and Tambay in '83 in Holland. That's a long time ago, and they don't want fuel consumption to spoil another 1-2 for the famous Scarlet Guard. Back to you, Jackie and Brian.
It was indeed Holland in 1983, the last time Ferrari was 1-2. The only other time Ferrari has been 1-2 in the Canadian Grand Prix was at nearby Mont-Tremblant, Quebec in 1970, when Jackie Ickx was 1st and Clay Regazzoni finished 2nd. Running 2nd right now is this man, car number 28, Stefan Johansson. Johansson trailing Alboreto by about 3 seconds. They have a substantial lead over Prost, De Angelis, followed by Rosberg and Mansell.
Well, Rosberg has caught up quite well. He's got himself into 5th position because he had a little bit of a spin out. He had all sorts of troubles. He seemed to come into the pits at one point and get himself some new tires after a spin. So that's been a pretty impressive race, in fact, by Keke Rosberg, who's up to 5th spot.
Jackie, speaking of moving up, Alain Prost has now moved up to within 13 seconds of Stefan Johansson, who is now trailing his teammate by 1.86 seconds.
Yes, but there is only 7 laps to go, and it's really have to have something dramatic happen. But this is at the stage in the race when dramatic happenings do occur, and if there's a fuel problem, it would certainly start to happen around now.
Ferrari trying to win the Canadian Grand Prix for the 4th time. X won in 1970. The late Gilles Villeneuve won the inaugural race here in Montreal in 1978. And René Arnoux fired this year after the race in Brazil won 2 years ago in 1983. Here's the man that should do it this afternoon, Michele Alboreto, as he tries for his 4th career victory. He's won in Las Vegas, won in Detroit. He has only 1 victory for Ferrari, and that was last year in Belgium.
The one good thing about Ferrari, when they get it right, they get it very right, and then they have good mechanical reliability. They're very strong because they've got tremendous resources and experience in Maranello in Italy. They are by far the most experienced constructors of racing cars in the world. And when they get it right, it really means to me that Alboreto has a very solid chance of winning the World Championship this year. For me, the 2 drivers with the best chance are Alboreto and Prost for the World Championship.
And of course, the last Italian to win it in an Italian car was Ascari way back in 1953.
There's Elio de Angelis working hard in 4th position there with his John Player, Team Lotus, car number 11. Ayrton Senna, who would have been up there with him, had trouble with his turbo early on and had to come into the pits, is still out on the racetrack. It must be refreshing for our ESPN viewers not to have to get up very early in the morning on the west coast of America. Getting up at a normal time and being able to see a normal race over here must be at least a relief.
Well, I tell you, viewers in Canada get to see the entire season. Exclusive coverage, every single race on Sports Weekend, and, of course, the races in the United States carried on ESPN. We'll be in Detroit 1 week from today as the Formula One season continues. But as we wind it down now, 6 laps to go, it is Alboreto, Johansson, Prost, and De Angelis. Michele Alboreto, should he hang on, will surge into the world driving lead.
We're looking at Keke Rosberg. Keke Rosberg coming through the field extremely well. He did an excellent job, Keke Rosberg, in coming through the field.
Speaking of world standings, Rosberg, of course, a former world champion.
Rosberg is some distance behind anybody else. There's not much improvement that he can make. He's not going to catch De Angelis unless something goes far wrong. Nigel Mansell is who we're looking at right now, and he's done a very steady race, picking up 1 point in the World Championship if he holds that position right now. 9 points for 1st place, 6 points for 2nd, 4 for 3rd, 3 for 4th, 2 for 5th place, and 1 point in the World Championships for 6th place.
You mentioned 1 point for 6th place. That is all that Stefan Johansson, running 2nd, has heading into this, the 5th race of the season. He was 6th in San Marino, but it looks like Johansson will finish 2nd to his teammate Alboreto. Keke Rosberg, the former world champion, running in the number 5 position, but as you say, Jackie, well back. In fact, he is now 42 seconds behind Michele Alboreto. The story continues to be this man, number 27. What a great day for the Ferrari team, and they so dearly love to win here on the circuit named after one of their greatest drivers, Gilles Villeneuve.
But Alain Prost is in fact catching Johansson. It's interesting. I'll take a gap in this next lap as they come through here, coming through the hairpin now, and look, Alain Prost is very, very close to Johansson. I think you're going to see a naughty. Here he is. That is Alain Prost going past there within a second. There you see the 2 of them. That's the battle for 2nd place.
Is there something wrong with Johansson's car? Because as I look at the computer, he was 6 seconds back only about a lap and a half ago, and now he has closed that.
Well, I think you'll find that he may have a little braking trouble, but I think at the same time, Alain Prost has really got the bit between his teeth. This is the type of performance that we could expect. I think it is surprising that he's allowed Alboreto to get quite as far ahead of him as as he has, I would suggest he has a little bit of trouble, but it'll be a spirited few laps. It's only a matter of 4 laps to the end of this race, so Alain Prost is really closing up. I think you're going to see one heck of a battle here in these closing laps, but it is impressive that Prost has been able to catch him as quickly as he has.
Well, you said early on today that Prost is the master tactician and would possibly lay back, use his fuel wisely, then make his move late in the race, and he is making it right now.
Well, Alain Prost, very calculated, very cool. This is not for a victory at this moment, but who's to know what can happen in these last 3 or 4 laps? Fuel could certainly be a problem. You get things like fuel surge where a car, and this is the final hairpin right now, there is Alboreto. The other red car, the second car in your picture right there is Johansson. Then the red and white car is Alain Prost. They're all very close. Alboreto isn't out of Prost's reach at this stage, I can tell you.
Hang on to your seats. We have an exciting finish coming up to this 1985 Canadian Grand Prix. Just a couple of laps to go. There is Alain Prost as he chases Stefan Johansson, Ferrari number 28, and Johansson is chasing his teammate, car number 27, Michele Alboreto.
Now you're going to see the little knobs inside the cockpit, these turbo boost knobs. If they get turned up, they're suddenly going to be pushing out a lot more horsepower. Ayrton Senna there, going out of your picture. De Angelis coming up to lap him. De Angelis is right now in 4th position, relegated from the lead into 4th position, and he is being threatened by Keke Rosberg. Rosberg is on him. He's going to displace him for 4th position. Keke Rosberg is right behind Elio de Angelis. We have some great stories right here, and there he goes. Power, look at that power. The wheels were churning up the road there. You can see the black marks of the spinning wheels. So we now have Keke Rosberg in 4th position.
De Angelis, the world driving leader, coming into this race by 2 points over Prost, and Alboreto now drops down. Hang on, it is far from over. Rosberg from Finland making his move. He will not be a factor in the outcome of the race. Prost could be, as Alain Prost is continuing to chase the 2 Ferraris, Michele Alboreto and Stefan Johansson. There's Alboreto, Johansson, and now number 2, Alain Prost.
They've got 2 more laps to complete. This is only 2 laps to complete. Alboreto leading the Labatt Grand Prix of Canada with only 2 laps around this circuit, Gilles Villeneuve, and Ile Notre Dame. Michele Alboreto staying cool, being told by his pit exactly what's happening. He's the man you're looking at. And right behind him is Stefan Johansson. We're waiting for him coming into the picture. He's being held up by one of the arrows, and Prost is closing up on him. This is tricky. This is tricky. He's got through. Or has he? Alboreto stays calm. Alboreto coming up again, and one of the other arrows, yes. Now see where Johansson is and where Prost is. They're coming in, and Prost is almost alongside. He's looking for a place to pass. This is going to be, they're coming in. They'll be taking only 2 laps after this. This is the second last lap they're on right now. They're coming into the final hairpin. Alain Prost looking for a place to overtake. Watch it the next lap, because that'll be the last lap. Accelerating away. Alboreto, 1 lap to go. Johansson and Prost almost side by side. And there's a slower car in between them here, Brian. This could be tricky. This could be very tricky on this last lap.
Alboreto by about 2 seconds over his teammate Johansson, and right behind Johansson is Alain Prost. Now, Johansson is starting to open it up a bit on Prost. There goes the arrows around, not a factor. There's Johansson. There is Alain Prost 3rd.
But what is going to be a factor is the arrows car with regards to being lapped here, because Johansson's got to have a clear run here, or it could be very tricky. And Alboreto got through one of the turtles. That's a Ligier. That was De Cesare there. They get through. Look at how busy it is. Alain Prost going to be held up by De Cesare, I think. The Ferrari gets clear. That's Alboreto. He's through. He's okay. Then an arrow. Then Johansson. And look, Alain Prost lost it. He got up behind the Ligier there, and he got balked. and that stopped him from any chance of catching Johansson.
Michele Alboreto will win this 1985 Canadian Grand Prix. There he goes. There's Johansson. He will finish second. And Alain Prost will finish third. The checkered flag is out for car number 27, the Ferrari of Italy's Michele Alboreto. It's official. Ferrari has finished 1-2 for the second time in Canadian Grand Prix history. It is Alboreto first, Johansson second, and the Frenchman, the McLaren veteran, Alain Prost, finishing third.
And Alain Prost put on the brakes and came to a stop immediately he passed the finishing line. He pulled up immediately. There's something wrong with his car, I'm sure. And there he is. He's out the car. He stepped out of the car immediately. No sooner had he crossed the finishing line, but he put on the brakes. I don't think he's happy at all. I don't know what's wrong with the car. He's taken a handshake, and there's Keke Rosberg. He's stopped as well. He's smoking.
All right, Jackie, let's bring in Barry Gill as we look at the two Ferraris.
And here is the happiest team manager in Canada today. Congratulations, Marco. Were you worried at the end that they were going to get caught by Prost?
Yes, of course. I think it was a very close race. We were very worried about McLaren. We know that they are, with us, I think, the most efficient on fuel consumption. I was thinking that without rain would have definitely been a Ferrari-McLaren race, and it's not been so bad for us.
Now you must have a chance for the World Championship.
Oh, it's too early to speak about the championship. We are not even halfway. It's better to wait. I think there are a lot of qualified challengers. We will try harder.
Thank you, Marco. Thanks for talking to us. A very happy team manager, Jackie and Brian.
Well, the day certainly belongs to Ferrari. Car number 27, Michele Alboreto, wins for the fourth time in his career. Ferrari finishing 1-2 with the McLaren of Alain Prost finishing third. We go back to 1970. Jackie Ickx won it for Ferrari at Mont-Tremblant. Clay Regazzoni finished second. Listen to this tremendous crowd in Montreal, Jackie Stewart. As we look at the unofficial results, they love that car number 27. They are going crazy.
Yep, well, let's quickly run through the top 10 here. We've got Alboreto first, Johansson second, Alain Prost third, Keke Rosberg, an amazing drive into fourth position. Elio de Angelis coming from the pole position and the lead down to fifth position. Nigel Mansell makes up the World Championship point standing in sixth position. And then one lap behind is Patrick Tambay in seventh, then Laffite in eighth, Thierry Boutsen ninth, and Riccardo Patrese in 10th. As you can see, the remains of a lot of cars around this racetrack, and a proud Ferrari flag waving high in the hills of the grandstands.
And if my arithmetic is correct, Michele Alboreto leads the world driving standings with 27 points. Alain Prost is now tied with Elio de Angelis. As we look at Johansson on the left, he was second. The dark-haired driver is Alboreto. Alboreto in the lead with 27 points. De Angelis, who led going into this race today and unofficially has finished fifth, will be tied for second with Alain Prost, who is unofficially third. Stay with us. Lots more to come as we continue our live coverage of the 1985 Labatt Grand Prix of Canada from Montreal. Margin over. Okay, it was better the other way. Can I put it the other way? Welcome back live to Montreal.
Ladies and gentlemen,
with Jackie Stewart and Barry Gill in the center. The winner, Michele Alboreto. On the left, that is Johansson, who was second, and on the right, McLaren's Prost, who finished third. The official presentations, Pierre Desjardins from Labatt Breweries of Quebec.
J'aimerais tout d'abord remercier les milliers de bénévoles qui font cette course un succès à chaque année. J'aimerais aussi remercier la Fédération internationale, la Fédération canadienne, la Fédération du Québec, ainsi que le gouvernement du Québec qui nous a apporté un support tout particulier cette année. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Labatt Brewing Company, I would also like to thank the drivers, their crews, and the many sponsors who make this race an event. A very successful event indeed. Thank you very much.
Michele Alboreto and Ferrari win.
Mesdames et messieurs,
here in Montreal, the fourth time Ferrari has won the Canadian Grand Prix.
Desjardins procède maintenant à la remise des trophées du Grand Prix Labatt du Canada. En troisième position, in third place, de France, Alain Prost.
Alain Prost, finishing third, moves into a second-place tie with De Angelis in the world driving standings.
Well, we were very blessed with good weather here. We can be thankful that happened.
In second place,
in second position by Gerhard Berger, being given now the beautiful crystal trophy, being given to Stefan Johansson.
Et maintenant, mesdames
Listen
et
to the
messieurs,
applause for the number 27 Ferrari.
couronnera le gagnant du Grand Prix Labatt du Canada. And now, the winner of the Labatt Grand Prix of Canada from Italy, Michele Alboreto. Mesdames et messieurs, Mademoiselle Grand Prix offre maintenant des fleurs aux gagnants. Miss Grand Prix will present flowers to the winner. Et Monsieur Desjardins présente au gagnant le trophée Gilles Villeneuve. Now Mr. Desjardins presents the Gilles Villeneuve trophy to the winner.
Ferrari winning for the fourth time in this country. Jackie Ickx won in 1970. The late Gilles Villeneuve winning the inaugural race on this circuit in 1978. René Arnoux fired from Ferrari, winning in 83. And the winner in 1985, Michele Alboreto. His fourth career victory, one in Las Vegas, one in Detroit for Ken Tyrrell, one last year for Ferrari in Belgium, and for the second time wins for Ferrari. Big story is the gentleman on the left, Jackie Stewart, Stefan Johansson. He picks up some very valuable points.
Well, Stefan drove a wonderful race. I think Michele Alboreto, the national anthem of Italy being played for the team rather than for the driver. In fact, historically is the case. Michele taking his hat off for his own national anthem. A driver who I think we have a very good chance of seeing on the same kind of podium when the World Championship presentation comes round. I think it will be he or Alain Prost.
Well, he has moved into the world driving lead. He now has 27 points. Alain Prost has 22, as does De Angelis. De Angelis today was fifth, and here's Barry Gill.
1 year for this day, and I am very happy now, for me and for all the team. A first and a second, sorry. We have to give 1 minute.